Hey everybody, it's Deanna with Tools of EnergyProtection.com, your energy shift expert and Akashic Records advisor. How's everybody doing? It is Tuesday, March 1st of 2022. I know it seems like time is just going so fast and absolutely incredible. So tonight we're going to talk about a few different things. And one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is Akashic Records, Narcissism, and Triangulation. If you missed last week's, we talked about gaslighting. So this week we're going to talk about Triangulation because the Akashic Records have a lot to do with what's happening in our lives before, in another timeline we've lived, and what's happening now. So for those of you that are just joining me, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the feed, whether we're here live on Facebook or whether you're catching this on the YouTube replay. So it's important to understand that as a highly sensitive person, an empath or a starseed, that you have a lot of folks in your lineage, if you will. You have a lot of people that you're related to through your genes that have similar traits as you. So a highly sensitive person, empath or a starseed, has a genetic coding that makes them that way. And then when those people don't get the love or the nurturing or the treatment that they need, then they begin to react in the human brain and the human mind, and they become sociopaths or narcissists. So it's on a spectrum, and actually very interesting spectrum at that. So I began asking myself, because I clear Akashic Record energies for people, that's part of the sessions that I do. I began asking myself, what does that have to do with being narcissistic? Because I find that a lot of folks in my life are either sociopaths or narcissistic. They plug into me and they drain my energy. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? Is this some kind of karma that I have to repay, because the world, no matter what words you put to it, the universe is about balance. That's the bottom line. So karma is nothing more than imbalanced energy. So if you push something, then someone else has to pull something. For every up, there's a down. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's the universe we live in. So when I began to experience a lot of energy drainers, narcissists, sociopath in my life, I'm like, what the heck? Who did I piss off in some other lifetime to be with people like this? And what I found out, it wasn't that I pissed somebody off. It's that it's part of the Akashic Records and karmic balance. So what does that mean? Well, let's talk about triangulation first of all. So triangulation is where a person will desire to manipulate someone else. And instead of doing it, brass knuckles on, if you will, intimidating them one-to-one, flexing or calling them names or making them feel bad, what they'll do is they'll let somebody else do their light work, so to speak. And I'm not talking about light as in light and love. I'm talking about as in L-I-T-E, the weight of something. So what I'm saying is that a narcissist and a sociopath don't always directly mess with your mind or your emotions. What they do is they choose someone else that's close in your circle and sometimes not close in your circle of family or friends. And they begin to use that person to do their dirty work, to manipulate you emotionally or treat you bad. And this often happens early in high school. For those of you girls, will think about this or remember this, us as ladies now. When we were in high school, there'd be a whole clique of girls and they'd all talk about, everybody else in the clique. And if you didn't fit in, then they would start turning on you and ostracizing you from the group and make you feel extremely bad because you weren't good enough. And so sometimes the way that they would do that is they would get a new person in the group and tell them all about how bad you were, what a mean person you were, a backstabber, all kinds of lies. So that the new person in the group who knew nothing will then turn on you. Have you ever had that happen to you? Where, seemingly somebody that's new to the group turns on you and becomes the one that begins to nose you out of the group or weed you out of the group, and everybody else just kind of stands there innocently? Well, that's called triangulation. So the basis of triangulation takes three people, the word triangle. So it takes the narcissist or the sociopath. Then it takes an unsuspecting person who is easily manipulated. And that unsuspecting person is then turned into the agent that comes back and undermines your ability to feel good about yourself. And they may not do it willingly or knowingly, but they do it. And I've seen this firsthand with family members, where the person who was being manipulated to be the agent to hurt my emotions had no idea that this was happening to that person. So they were being told that I was bad or wrong, and that I needed to be punished for something that I had done, when the only thing I hadn't done was make the narcissist happy. The only thing I had done with the narcissist was stood up for myself within that family and told them, you know what? I don't want to play into your game. I have no desire to make you feel better about yourself or uplift your self-esteem because you're not a nice person. And so when I did that, the narcissist, of course, didn't like that. And so they turned to an unsuspecting person in my family dynamic and told him how wrong and bad I was and all these horrible things that I had done, which, by the way, I had done none of. And so that family member came and belittled me for how dare I do this and how dare I do that to the narcissist because of their feelings and blah, blah, blah. And so that's how triangulation works. It's simply manipulation of a third person to communicate to you through the third person, using a third person. So if that makes sense to you, give me a thumbs up. And then I'm going to talk about how that relates to the Akashic Records. Tonight, I'm actually at For Heaven's Sakes Books in Denver. Usually I'm here on Thursday, but I had to switch my schedule. So that's why you're seeing this background here, and the lighting being a little bit different. So that I could come on and talk to you all about the second part of a three-part series of Akashic Records and Narcissism. So now that you understand what triangulation is and where it comes from, the next thing is to, you might ask, well, how does that affect the Akashic Records? So again, the Akashic Records is a recording of everything that you've ever said, done, or experienced, written into books. They're etheric. And that way your soul can examine what it's done when it's gone back. And again, the universe needs to balance out energies. So it's going to balance things out from one life to the next. And right now we're experiencing the new moon, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And it's a perfect time to purge your records. So an Akashic record records, like I said, what you've done. So it's like a play or a sitcom, and their characters and everything's recorded. And so if you're experiencing a lot of hurt and pain in a relationship, if you are the person who's manipulating or manipulative, probably not watching here, but if you're that person, or if you're a person that got caught up in it unwillingly and unknowingly, and part of the triangulation, all of that was recorded in your Akashic records. So you come down, you're living another lifetime, and there's still yet more to learn. And so you might have changed positions in the triangulation, or like most sensitives right now, we're being told to stand up for ourselves and to advocate for ourselves and no longer tolerate this kind of behavior. So the lesson from our past lives or other timelines into this one is that we do have a voice, and we can remove ourselves from situations, and we can say no. So if you're in a triangulation, you recognize it and you step outside of it, you can do that, but you can't control what the narcissist is going to do or say. But you can remove yourself from that position and not participate the best that you can. So in the records, if you were sometimes the windshield, sometimes the bug, then in another timeline, you're experiencing what it feels like the exact opposite position, or maybe an observer. So the energies then accumulate. And where we are right now in the evolution of souls in this planet is to release as much karma or imbalanced energy as possible. So again, most of the clients I've talked to and spoken to about this triangulation, they're the ones on the receiving end of the manipulation. Does that mean they were on the giving end in another life? Who knows? But it means there's unbalanced energy and there's something to learn. So if this is you, I'm going to ask you to take a look at your life and discover, am I actually being manipulated by someone else to treat someone else badly when I really don't know all the facts? Or am I being treated badly? Or am I the person who's the perpetrator? Find that out and then clear your Akashic records by putting that energy out to the universe and asking to be forgiven or released, or for the other person to be released, however that looks for you. So if that's making sense to you, if you can give me a thumbs up, either watching the recording or the live, that way I know what you all are thinking, because it is a rather large concept. It's so simple, but yet challenging, especially when you get into, are you the good guy or the bad guy, or the good gal or the bad gal, or the manipulated one, as the case may be. So hi to Wendy. I hope you're having a great night too. Barb, good to see you. Candace, you're welcome for the live feed. And Carol, good to see you. Hi. Okay, so I'm getting some thumbs up, but nobody's having any comments, which tells me that this is a pretty deep subject for a lot of people to digest. So again, today's March 1st, 2021, and tomorrow we have a new moon in Pisces. What does that mean? Well, what that means is the vibrational frequency, the Schumann's, is going to shift a little bit. And you're going to find that there's a lot of more ringing in the ears if you're hearing that tinnitus, and it's more prominent or lasting longer during the day, because there's an uplift of energy in the new moon. And so for many of my clients over the last 7 or 8 days that have been talking to me and myself, we feel like we're going through a poop show, and like somebody turned on the fan and they're dribbling the poop down, it's just going everywhere. I'd like for you to know that the reason for that is that a lot of sensitives are becoming more aware of who they are in time and space, that they are to anchor the light. And in order to anchor the light, you have to reconcile unbalanced energies, and you have to bring things that have been in the dark into the light and hold them to the light and hold them to that. And that's challenging for us that are sensitive, because we don't like energy draining situations, and we'd rather just avoid it instead of drawing safe boundaries. So if you have things that have come up in your life, like have come up in my life, it's about drawing boundaries with not only others, but yourself. And in doing that, you're going to feel a lot of rocking in the boat. And if you're anything like me, I was told in my marriage, I was told growing up and by the church, don't rock the boat. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen, it's boat rocking time. So you grab onto both sides of that boat and you wiggle it back and forth and see what falls out. Because that's about your healing. And the boat might tip over and you might have to swim to the shore, but it is what it is, because right now the most important thing is to balance out energies, strengthen yourselves, deal with less of the poop in life, shore things up, so to speak, take care of what you need to take care of. Let the rest go, because now is a time of reckoning for a lot of us. And now is a time to rise up and be that light. Draw the boundaries of things that have been draining you for a long time. Some things have been in the closet for a long time. You got to bring them out. So that's where we are with the new moon in Pisces. There's an uplifting energy. I promise you that it will just uplift you. It'll bring you through the poop, basically. Don't worry about it. It's going to be a little rocky for a while that boat's rocking back and forth. But once everything falls out that doesn't belong in there, and you, if that's including you, then swim to the shore, because it's a lot better over there. Okay, so I'm going to look one more time to see if we have any questions. Again, thank you for joining me for Terrific Tuesday. I'm here every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Share the video if you found it to be of value. If you're not quite sure what I was talking about and you have questions, either post them down below here on Facebook, YouTube, or go to toolsofenergyprotection.com and click on About, and you'll find many ways to contact me. Send me a question. All right, let me see what the other questions are. Let's see here. Candace says, my major concern these days. Yes, Candace, I understand. Jenna says, hey, how's it going? And it says, how will I find the energy to explain to others who are stuck? The balancing process. All right, that's a good thing to ask, and I'm glad you asked it, Candace, because a lot of us energy workers, a lot of us healers are in our own boats, and the boats are rocking, and we're just trying to hold on. And there's somebody, in the water next to us on the lake, and they're rocking too, and there's white caps, and they're yelling out for help, and you want to help them, but you can't because you got to hold on to your own. So for those people that are going through their own poop show, and you're trying to find that energy to help them balance, know that this is a time for them to be reckoning with their own stuff. And you can't save them. You never could. You wanted to. I get it. But you can't save someone else. They have to save themselves. So here's some wisdom from my lifeguarding days. We used to have a buoy, a circular buoy. And what we were taught is that you would swim out to the person that was drowning and you would push the buoy towards them so they could grab onto it. Because if you were holding onto it, that person who's drowning, they're going to reach for the highest thing they can get a hold of. And if that happens to be your head, you're both going down. So you push the buoy out to them and they grab onto that. And then once they're settled, then you reach out and then you pull them back. And if they start to climb over the buoy to try to get on you, you turn loose and you swim away. And much could be said the same way right now with energy and saving others. This is a poop show. Everybody's got to swim for themselves. If you see somebody who's figuratively drowning, send them a ball of light, send them some love. Tell them if they just stand up, the ground's right in there and they're going to stand up and go, oh, I don't have to worry about drowning because the water only comes up to my knees. But just give them a hint. Let them do their own work. That's a big lesson for us right now. So anyway, that's it for tonight. If you missed the beginning, when I end the video, it'll hit, you can hit replay and it'll come back on. And again, I thank you so much for joining me. Today is Tuesday, so usually I'm not at the bookstore. Like I said, that's the reason for the background, because I'm here. I've been doing readings all day and energy clearing and Akashic record clearing and balancing out karma for others. And I will not be here Thursday because I have another situation that I have to go and take care of. So if you want to get a hold of me, reach out at toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on services, pick a time for us to get together, and I will help you to clear your records, understand about triangulation more and how that's affecting you, and how you can help yourself. So anyway, big hugs and kisses to everybody. Love and hug and good luck on rocking your boat in Pisces. It's an uplifting thing. So if you rock it and people fall out and your boat rises, great. If it tumps over and you swim to the shore, that's where you're supposed to be too. So as always, big hugs and kisses and love.